And welcome back to the Mindful Model Maker. I'm not actually in the workshop today. I'm in my kitchen, and I'm just giving you an update on the signal box that I'm building. There have been bits of videos, so this is it. So it's made out of a product called foamex, which is a kind of a plasticky. It's used a lot with the printing trade and making posters and signs and things like that. It's very durable, it's very strong, and the good thing is you can mark out things like stonework, brickwork, or whatever you want. So this is where I've got to on the signal box so far. So you can see this side has been completed, and you can see that I've put strips to represent strips of wood which go over each other, which produce the effect like you would see on a signal box. The back wall I've actually done as brick. This will be raised up probably on a brick built bit so that the signal box is up in the air. A lot of signal boxes were up so that they could see the movements going on in yards and various bits and pieces around. So the basic thing I did explain in the first video is I found a plan online, and I got the rough dimensions to give me the rough basic thing of what I wanted, and put in various bits that, you know, my own bit to it. So this is 5mm thick foamex, and the rest of it that's on here is 1mm. So why I buy 1mm is because I can put the 1mm on top of the 5, and it doesn't make it look too thick or heavy. The other thing is, because I've made my own roof tiles, well, roof slates. These are a copy of a Welsh slate. So I got the dimensions and marked it out. So what I've done to produce them, they're 2mm thick. So what I do is I cut out strips of the right width, and then I chop the length, and then what I do is do the same again and glue the two together. So that gives me then 2mm. So I can produce something 2mm thick, because obviously some of these Welsh slates that were on some of these narrow gauge railways and things were quite thick. And then I just file the edge to give it a kind of an effect. You can probably see that there. And then when they're painted grey and everything, they will hopefully look like the slates. So that will eventually go onto here, like so, and just overlap a little bit there like that. So that will give you the look of the roof. Now what I do, I can show you on this bit here. So they angle back. Now I made up my own measurements. So this is an imperial ruler one side and a metric the other side. So what I did, I worked out a measurement which would make these slats about the right width. So I used tenths of an inch. So what I measured, so the whole thing is 3/10 of an inch wide. So 1/10, I put a line down, and that is the overlap line. So what I do, when I glue this on, I will line it up at the end and put the super glue on the line of the one before, right the way along, let that set, then chop off the excess, and it puts it back at an angle. So if you can see here down the side, it's probably better on this end because there's more of it, you can see how, and you can hear how they set back a little bit from each other. So we'll try and home in there. You can then see. So then that gives you that effect on top of that. The windowsill that I put round, they were just a 5mm cut to a narrow strip and glued round. And because a lot of it then will be done with the painting. The brickwork, again, I worked out roughly the size of the bricks to do with the scale that I'm doing, and they're literally drawn on. And again, you can feel. So they've actually, if I was to paint that, you would see by pressing quite heavily with a pencil when I mark them out, it actually scribes the brickwork in, and you can see the brickwork down there as well. Then on the inside, I marked out which will be the floor. So I'll probably use some kind of wood stain that I've got for a wooden floor. The hole in the middle, I'll show you what that's for in a minute. You've probably seen in a previous video. I've marked the door on the inside as well. I'm not going to go to town with too much on the inside of this. And the simple reason is because, you know, you make a model of a building. Yeah, I want the building to look as nice as I can. I'm not going to spend weeks and weeks making little potbelly stoves and various other things to go inside. The idea is to give it its the signal box for the station, a little yard on the layout that I'm working on at the moment, the garden railway. You've seen this in a previous video, but I just want to give you this update and show you how various bits have moved on. So the signal box will stand up on a brick kind of pier. It won't be as high as this, I don't think. The reason I use it on here at the moment, I've got these levers and I managed to get them on eBay. There's a guy selling these and you can buy another set if you want a big lever frame box. I mean, this is only a small yard, so it would only have a few. These would be painted with different colours because with levers in a signal box, if you know anything about them, the different colours, you've got levers that will pull for points, you've got levers that you'll pull for signals, ordinary signals, and various other bits. And you've also got some levers that you will pull to put a lock in, so it locks the track in position so that you can't mistakenly use a point which would allow a train to collide with the one that's already there. So there's lots of built-in safety devices. I'm not going to go into that. I mean, there's plenty of books on that subject if you really want to go ahead. So the reason for the hole is because obviously these would all go down underneath the main bit of the signal box, because all the controls, wires and various bits and pieces would be underneath the box going down outside and along the track. And then of course there will be the mandatory signalman that will be standing in the box as well. So that's where we are. So once I've painted the windows, I'll put a perspex round on the inside for glass, probably a few added little details on the outside, but I'm going to keep it reasonably simple purely because I don't want to spend too much time on just the signal box. We've got a station to build, buildings and various things. It's just to represent, so that when it's on there running locos around, you can see the signal box in the background. You'll be able to see what's going on. So anyway, there's the roof section. So that's where we are, and that's how I make the various parts for it. So yeah, it's a copy in a sense. I use somebody's basic dimensions to produce this, but the rest of it just comes out of my head how I want it to be. The door, I put a frame around the door and various other bits and pieces. You can see the door coming into view there. You know, just to highlight it. And there will be some steps coming up the side to it. So that will be the next part that I'll probably rough out. Yeah, so you don't have to buy lots of thicknesses, because I bought, I think it was about 6 sheets of this 1mm. So I've got lots of it. And like I say, once you double it up, like to make the roof slates, it starts to get quite thick and it's quite strong. So if you think you want some reinforcing bits, I don't know how this will weather outside, but it won't really be left. I think what I'll do is when I make all the various different buildings, I will have a box, and then when I'm out playing trains, I'll put all the buildings in their position, run my railway, do whatever it is I'm doing, and then when I've finished I'll bring the buildings in, but just leave the track and the other bits. The platforms, I will make them, I might make them out of a cement. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm actually going to do that, but I will experiment, and as soon as I've decided how I'm going to do that, I will just let you know in a video of how I'm going to do it. But I've got this idea of kind of making the shape of the platform that I want, because obviously with some of the stuff that I'm using outside, I will be running some actual gauge 1 stuff through it, which is a lot larger. I want that to be able to run as well, not mixed in with the narrow gauge stuff, but occasionally just run that because it's something that I'm into, and if I want to test something. But so I've got to make the platform so that the width of various things will go through, so you don't have to keep modifying because of the gauges of various stuff that you're running. It'll all run on 45mm track, but you can get SM32 that runs on 45mm track, so it's just the wheels are slightly spaced further apart. And if you watch any of my videos, you can see me upgrading some of the locos to run on that track, so that I've got more motive power really to use on there. So there we are. So that's the signal box. Probably over the next days I will start cutting out the bottom bit, mark out the brickwork for that, get that fixed on, and then I can start roughing out the steps to go up the side. And in the meantime making more tiles, and then it'll come down to the next bit where we start painting. But obviously I'm going to leave the roof off until I've painted the inside, and then after that the man and everything will be glued in on the inside, and then I'll just shut the roof so that it's all completely sealed in. So that's the plan at the moment anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any comments on this, just put them in the comments below, because I do reply to everything. You know, if there is anything you want to know about this, the making of it, it is very easy stuff to work with. You can simply make brickwork by marking it out and just scoring quite heavily with your pencil when you draw along, and it will make that deep enough to give like a mortar line between the bricks, so that when you paint that you will see a definition, a difference, even though it's a flat sheet. So the good thing about this stuff, you start with a flat sheet, but very cheaply you can add bits to it to give it another dimension, and that's what I like about using this foamex. So you don't have to be an expert, because I'm far from it, but yeah, you can see that I think it looks quite effective. Yeah, so like I say, put a comment if you want to, subscribe if you want to see how we progress with all of this. And the other thing is, there's about 430 odd videos on my site now, going from all types of things, from free rail, Hornby, all sorts of stuff. So if you're interested in railways generally, there will be something on there, because 90% of what I do is railway based. I mean, there's some Airfix models on there as well. So, you know, I think from a modeller's point of view, a modeller is into lots of things. It might be railway orientated, but if you went somewhere and see other models, you would be interested purely because of you'd be interested in the way things are made, and you can learn things sometimes by other kind of modelers. And a lot of the stuff coming out for landscapes and various bits and pieces now was come through the wargaming type thing, because they build their scenery quite realistic. So there's a lot of things that have come out in that's made model railways move on a little bit more, because you can get authentic kind of grass and stuff like that with all the static type products that there are on the market. So, you know, all of the hobbies together in the modelling world can help each other really with various different bits. But that's what I've found over the years anyway. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, do that. It doesn't cost anything, and you can see the progress as we go. And obviously give us a like if you do like it, and comment if there's things that you don't really like or whatever, or if there's things that you would like me to try and show, and if I can, I will. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye now.